Here we are asked to find the intercepts and explain what they represent in the context of this problem. So let's go ahead and make sure we remember what a horizontal intercept is. So a horizontal intercept is where a graph crosses the horizontal axis. So right here. Now I made this example up, and that ordered pair there is 2, 0. So if we're talking about x and y, it's when the y value is 0. Now in this problem, we're using time, and we're using for t for time and d for depth. So it's when the depth is 0. So since we know that the depth, or how much the hole is filled up, is dependent on how much time, or what time has passed, we know that the depth is the dependent variable and that the time is the independent variable. So that is how we know that the time is the first one in the ordered pair and the depth is the second one. So to find the horizontal intercept, we're going to plug in a 0 for D and solve the equation. So in part A, we know that this is our equation, so we're going to go ahead and plug in a 0 for D right here and solve it. So we want to get our variable term isolated, so we're going to go ahead and add 150 to both sides. And now that our variable term is isolated, we will divide by the coefficient, which is 15, to both sides. And we get that the time is 10. And it's in minutes, so 10 minutes. So when the time is 10 minutes, the depth we plugged in was 0. So that is our ordered pair. So now we need to explain what this represents. So in 10 minutes, the depth is 0. So what that means is it's going to take 10 minutes to fill the hole. So at 10 minutes, the hole is completely filled. So instead of saying at 10 minutes the depth is 0, it makes more sense to explain what that 0 represents. It means that the hole is completely filled. So now to find the vertical intercept, that just means where is the graph going to cross here. And in this example that I made up, that ordered pair is at 0, 4. So it's when the depth in this case is 0. Oops, and I had this mixed around here. This should be this way. So it's when not the depth is 0, when the time is 0, what the depth is in this particular problem. So instead, now we're going to plug in the 0 here. So we're going to simplify 15 times 0. So at time, we plugged in was 0. The depth is negative 150. So now we need to explain what that represents. And if we look here, it's this point right here. It's right now. So initially, when this sinkhole starts filling, it is 150 feet below the ground. So right now the sinkhole is 150 feet below the ground. Notice I didn't put negative 150 feet below the ground. The negative represents this. So I'm explaining what the negative represents by putting those words there.